It was a bright Sunday afternoon in Victoria, British Columbia. Children played, parents watched, and a sense of normalcy filled the air. Among them was 4-year-old Michael Dunahee, a happy, playful little boy with his whole life ahead of him. But in just a few silent, unseen moments, Michael vanished. No screams, no struggle, no witnesses, just gone. And in the 34 years since, no one has been able to answer the question that still haunts Canada. What happened to Michael Dunahee? Michael Wayne Dunahee was born on May 12, 1986, in Victoria, British Columbia. The only son of Bruce and Crystal Dunahee, he was a smart, sweet-natured little boy with blonde hair, blue eyes, and a love for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. He was the kind of child who made friends easily, outgoing, curious, always smiling. He was also a protective big brother to his baby sister, Caitlin. But on March 24, 1991, that joyful energy was silenced forever. Michael's disappearance would not only become one of Canada's most enduring mysteries, it would change the way the entire country viewed child safety. It was a typical spring Sunday. Crystal, Michael's mom, had a flag football practice scheduled at Blanchard Elementary School, a local field just a few minutes from home. Bruce, her husband, was there to watch and take care of the kids. Michael was wearing his favorite outfit, a blue Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles t-shirt, a blue hooded jacket, rugby pants, and blue sneakers. When they arrived at the school around 12:30 p.m., Michael asked if he could go to the playground nearby. It was only a few meters away, visible from the field, and crowded with other families. Crystal hesitated. She later recalled feeling something in her gut, like a quiet warning that something wasn't quite right. But she agreed, under one condition. Michael had to go straight to the playground and wait there for his dad. Michael agreed. He ran off. That was the last time anyone ever saw him. Just minutes later, Bruce walked to the playground, but Michael was gone. There was no sign of a struggle. No sounds, no screams. Just silence, and an empty space where their son should have been. Panic set in immediately. Nearly 50 people from the football game and surrounding park dropped everything to search for Michael. Within minutes, Crystal and Bruce called the police. The Victoria Police Department responded with urgency. Given the speed of the disappearance and the public location, they didn't treat this as a typical missing child case. They treated it as a likely abduction. Within hours, every available detective was on the case. But time was already slipping away. The investigation into Michael's disappearance became one of the largest in Canadian history. Thousands of flyers were distributed. Border crossings were alerted. News outlets blasted his photo and story across the country. Within days, tips began pouring in, hundreds by the hour. The problem? This was 1991. No internet, no digital databases, no facial recognition, no security cameras, no Amber Alert system. Everything was logged manually. Tips were written down on carbon paper, and the process of sorting and prioritizing them was grueling and slow. Despite this, investigators acted quickly. Known sex offenders in the area were interviewed. Roadblocks were set up. Aerial searches, canine units, and dive teams were deployed. But nothing came up. The only potential clue came from a single witness who reported seeing a brown van near the playground that day, driven by a man in his late 40s or early 50s. It was vague, and no one could identify the vehicle or the driver. Still, a month later, police staged a reenactment of Michael's disappearance using a brown van, hoping to jog memories. But again, it led nowhere. Over the years, the Dunahee case would see several waves of renewed interest, each time sparked by a possible sighting, a mysterious post, or a man who bore a resemblance to the boy who vanished. In 2006, authorities investigated a young man living in British Columbia who closely resembled what Michael might look like. DNA ruled him out. In 2009, police discovered Michael's missing person poster inside the home of Vernon Seitz, a man in Milwaukee who had confessed to his psychiatrist that he'd killed a child decades earlier. He died before police could question him further. But there was no solid link to Michael. In 2011, around the 20th anniversary of the disappearance, a man in Chase, British Columbia, caught the attention of investigators. Again, DNA testing was done. Again, he wasn't Michael. Then came a bizarre twist in 2013, when a user with the name Canuckles posted on a Vancouver Canucks fan forum, claiming that police had approached him for a DNA test. It sounded promising, but within days, the Victoria police confirmed, not Michael. Even social media got involved. In 2020, a TikToker named Shanger Danger posted a video claiming he'd found a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles shirt underwater, the same kind Michael wore the day he vanished. For a moment, the internet lit up with hope. But when Michael Dunahee saw the shirt, her heart sank. It wasn't the same. Each lead, each rumor, each promise of closure ended in heartbreak. For Crystal and Bruce, life never went back to normal. Their days became filled with interviews, press conferences, and chasing down tips, always hoping the next one would bring them closer to their son. Crystal became an outspoken advocate for missing children. She later became the president of Child Find British Columbia, using her voice to push for better systems, including the Amber Alert, which didn't exist when Michael vanished. In 2002, she publicly supported the RCMP and calls for an alert system, saying, "If an Amber Alert had been in place in 1991, we may have found Michael. We may have brought him home." Eventually, the system was implemented across most of Canada. But for Crystal, it came too late. Michael's younger sister, Caitlin, who was just a baby when he disappeared, now organizes the annual Michael Dunahee Keep the Hope Alive fund run in Esquimalt. The event raises money for child safety programs and ensures that her brother's name is never forgotten. In Victoria, Michael's disappearance was more than a tragic story. It was a shattering of innocence. People remember where they were that day. Parents clung tighter to their children. Strangers looked at each other with suspicion. Schools increased security. Parks installed fences. Community trust, once a quiet assumption, suddenly felt fragile. What happened at that playground in 1991 changed how the city raised its children. As of 2025, Michael Dunahee has been missing for 34 years. Police say they've received over 11,000 tips since the investigation began. Some came from across Canada, others from the US, even Europe, but none have brought Michael home. In 2021, authorities released an age-progressed image of what Michael might look like today. A man in his mid-30s, with sandy blonde hair and soft blue eyes. They also launched an online tip portal, making it easier for people to report potential leads, no matter how small. Constable Cam McIntyre of the Victoria Police said, "All it could take is one person. Just one person who saw something, heard something, knows something. That could be the key to bringing Michael home." But so far, that person has not come forward. How does a child disappear in broad daylight, just meters away from his parents, with no witnesses and no trace? It's a question that has tormented a family for over 3 decades. A mystery that has echoed through time, undisturbed by the thousands of hours poured into solving it. The silence surrounding Michael's disappearance is more than chilling, it's unbearable. Because every day without answers is another day that Bruce and Crystal Dunahee must live in limbo, clinging to the hope that their little boy is still out there. Maybe living under another name. Maybe wondering where he came from. Maybe still waiting to be found. If you know something, anything, about the disappearance of Michael Dunahee, please come forward. You could be the one to end this nightmare. Because Michael deserves more than a headline. He deserves to come home. Let's keep his name alive. Let's keep the hope alive. Let's never stop searching. Don't forget to share this video and subscribe to the channel. You might help bring this story to someone who knows what happened to Michael that day. You could be part of the answer. Until next time, stay curious, stay vigilant.